The number of MSPs that I've spoken to who have seen some level of friction come between them and their clients because the client has come back to them brandishing the invoice. Hey, what were we charged for here? What was all this for? Can you explain this?
Paul Green's
MSP Marketing
Podcast.
Here's this week's
Clever idea.
Invoices. Nobody likes invoices. You don't like having to send them out. Well, actually, you probably don't mind sending them out because invoices turn into cash. But no one likes getting invoices or having to pay them. It's a horrible process, really. There must be a better way for businesses to do business with each other than doing invoices. I know payments are all a little bit more automated and smarter these days, but there's always that paper trail. Well, these days it tends to be more the PDF trail. We've always got these invoices. And the problem with invoices is they can create friction. The number of MSPs that I've spoken to who have seen some level of friction come between them and their clients because the client has come back to them brandishing the invoice, holding the PDF in their hand, saying, hey, what were we charged for here? What was all this for? Can you explain this? And of course, it's always several months on from when they got the invoice because the payment perhaps is automatic. So it's setting up friction. We don't want friction. We want to do everything in our power to remove friction between you and between your clients. The whole point of getting a client is to keep them for 10 years, right? So then we've got to remove friction, remove all the friction that we possibly can from that relationship. Here's an idea that some of the MSPs I work closely with have tried, and it seems to work really well. You see, I'm always saying to you, you should be growing each client and growing their value to them by selling them more monthly recurring revenue services, doing strategic reviews, setting out technology roadmaps, using things like the profit matrix. All of these are really great tools, and you can go back and listen to a series we ran right at the beginning of this year about those exact tools and how to use them. I think it was the first three podcasts of January covers off those three items. So I'm always pushing you to sell more to your clients. However, if you just bundle all of that into the invoice and it's just one sum, they just see one figure going up, at some point they are going to come back to you and say, the bill seems to be going up quite a lot. What are we paying for? So here's what those MSPs that I work with are doing, or some of them are doing. They're splitting the invoice down into three separate areas. These are the three separate areas. They are support, security, and telecoms. Now, some of them are doing a line-by-line breakdown within those three areas. Some of them aren't. They're just grouping them into support, security, and telecoms. But here's the clever thing. You see, as an MSP, you actually sell not just one service, but you do sell a broad range of services to your clients. And in breaking it down into three different areas like that, we're making them realize that they are indeed buying three things from you. Because you and I know that the security, well, their spend on security is only going to get bigger as the years go by, right? There's going to be more and more threats and more levels of protection that they will be able to buy. So their security spend is going to go up. What we're doing here by listing support, security, and telecoms is we are separating the security out from the support. Because the support is pretty much a fixed cost, right? So I know that prices go up and you bring on board new tools, but more or less it's a fixed cost. In fact, the more proactive stuff you do, and the more automation comes in and the more AI does stuff, I'm guessing that the actual cost of support is going down a little bit, or maybe will go down a bit. So in divorcing support and security, we're giving the clients an opportunity to see where the spend is going. It's the same with telecoms. You're splitting out telecoms. Now, I know that telecoms is a bit of a cash cow. I know there's very, very little work for you to do once you've done the setup. It's just the money just keeps rolling in. But obviously, the cost of telecom, depending on the deal that you've sold them on, if it's not some kind of unlimited deal, then the cost will go up or down depending on the amount of telephony use there is. So wouldn't that make sense to divorce and split out telecoms? What we're trying to do here is show them where the value is. So yes, their overall bill is going up, but at the point they come to you with some friction and they say to you, hey, my bill's going up and up and up, you can say to them, that's fine. Which of these three areas do you want to reduce spend in? Do you want to reduce spend in support, and which means we'll be doing less proactive stuff, so you'll have more problems? Oh, and of course, we'll have to charge you more to fix those problems because it costs more to fix things that we could have stopped from going wrong in the first place. Or do you want to reduce the amount of money that you're spending on security? And here are the downsides of that. Or do you want to use your phones less? Now, okay, you wouldn't use those exact words, but the sentiment is there. And that's a very, very powerful thing to be able to go back to your client and do. In fact, it removes all the friction. It shows them that they are the ones pushing the bills up because they are better supported, better protected, and they're able to pick up the phone and call anyone that they want at any time, or whatever their telephony deal is. So if you're not doing this already, please do split those down. You may choose to do more areas than that. The MSPs that I work closely with, it tends to be just those three areas: support, security, and telecoms. And as I say, you could choose to break that down line by line. I think there are downsides to doing that. That's when people really start to get into nitpicking and saying, well, what's this line here? Line 72, where we're buying the XYZ service. Do we really need that? I think you can be too granular. And of course, it can create an invoicing nightmare as well. But breaking it down into three broad areas should be a way of removing any invoicing friction between you and your client.
Paul Green's
MSP Marketing
Podcast.